Does your anxiety ever spin out of control? It's like you're trapped inside this horrible, tightening straitjacket that others don't see or quite understand. The alarm grinds your eyes open and something seems off. An unease creeps up and hovers in your chest, pursuing you like a pesky wasp, set to unleash a nasty sting the moment you drop your guard. So radar, locked onto incoming threats, your day unfolds amidst a backdrop of discomfort and distraction. And other days you've got so much stuff going on, deadlines, commitments, other people, that it feels like drowning with no shoreline in sight or second to swim. No matter how fast you paddle, it's like the world has set you up to sink. It feels unsafe. While maybe not in a physical sense, the mental and emotional impact is real. And you don't deserve this, which makes it something for us to tackle. Hi, I'm Dominic Decker, a registered therapist and your support for a strong and confident life. In today's video, you'll understand the relationship between anxiety and stress and why anxiety seems to be on the rise. Now, before we get too down on anxiety, it helps to remember that some anxiety is essential as it helps us avoid dangerous situations and make better decisions. Defined as a feeling of worry or unease about something with an uncertain outcome, anxiety motivates us to act upon concerns, avoid careless decisions, and step back from dangerous acts. I mean, what might you try if you had no radar for risk? However, when fear and negative thinking take over, anxiety can manifest in various forms such as panic attacks, phobias, obsessive-compulsive disorder, or commonly generalized anxiety in which it hangs around like a dark and ominous cloud. Yet although these conditions leave us feeling vulnerable, it's vital to remember that anxiety is not a sign of weakness, but a response to stress. Now, stress is our body's response to excess pressure. It occurs when the demands we face outweigh our resources to cope. So in situations where we have adequate resources to handle the challenges, we can overcome them safely. However, when the demands become too much and our resources are insufficient, stress accumulates, leading to feelings of defeat and often unhealthy coping mechanisms that only generate more stress. Now, left unaddressed, both prolonged and excess stress can give rise to anxiety. The fight-flight-freeze response is another connection between stress and anxiety, and there's a good chance you've heard of this essential survival tool. Yet, while it serves well to deal with immediate danger, it hasn't adapted to the modern world where threats are frequently psychological rather than physical. Now, this primal response can cause intense reactions to moderate fear, leading to a constant state of readiness and anticipation of danger. So imagine starting a new job with a supportive environment and access to the resources you need to succeed. You'll be able to overcome the initial challenges and adapt to the new demands. However, if you're in a different scenario where your boss demands too much and your colleagues are unhelpful, you'll likely feel overwhelmed and unable to cope. Commonly, this leads to mental strains that invade your downtime and disrupt your sense of safety, security, and control. So stress accumulates, and when combined with other life stresses, you may lose your ability to bounce back. Under these circumstances, you might turn to unhealthy coping mechanisms such as impulsive shopping, excessive alcohol consumption, or binge eating. Now, these attempts at coping only generate more stress and can lead to anxiety. So no one is immune to stress and anxiety, and strong people, those who can take on more, may often suffer most. They may think they're coping and keep going, but when burnout or depression sets in, they realise they were merely surviving. The fight-flight-freeze is a physical reaction when confronting something mentally or physically frightening. Now, it's been essential for ensuring our survival since our ancestors' time when life was full of threats. Back then, they had limited options when dealing with danger. Flight, run away, fight, confront the danger head-on, or freeze. This is playing dead until the danger passed. In short-term and dangerous situations, this system serves us well. The body jumps to high alert, preparing for physical effort and focusing solely on survival. Now, once the threat is disarmed, the stress dial turns down and your mind and body return to normal. However, this response hasn't had time to adapt to the modern world and the nature of threats we more commonly face today. So modern-day threats are usually psychological, such as bullying or feeling unsafe due to aggressive neighbours, or getting cornered by unrealistic work deadlines. The primitive, part of our brain that activates the fight or flight response, doesn't discern between actual life-threatening events and psychological threats. So for instance, if you say to yourself, "I'll die if I have to stand up and talk," before a presentation, the anticipation of danger can trigger the fight or flight response, causing your body and mind to react as if facing death. A panic ensues, and then we can imagine our way into a state of terror. However, when the threat is only in our minds and there's nowhere to run or fight, making the fight or flight response ill-fitting for many modern-day situations. This intense reaction can cause a frightening and unsettling experience, and even though the physical response to stressful events will eventually dial down, an expectation of danger remains triggered. So we stay in a heightened state of waiting and vigilance, like an overly sensitive smoke alarm that keeps setting off when it doesn't need to. Have you ever experienced a sense of creeping danger without knowing where it might come from? If so, you know what it's like to feel trapped in that ever-present sense of tension. If you've watched an unsettling movie, you know that on-edge feeling of the unknown. It's fraught and often exhausting. A rest or relaxation becomes difficult, and you become distracted and absent-minded and find it difficult to settle. Over time, this leads to excess arousal in the brain. It's a constant state of readiness, and it's here that we encounter unwelcome effects from excess stress. Headaches, sleepless nights, skin complaints, and turning to alcohol to soften the edges are all signs that you've been pushed too far. If this stress is left unchecked, it can develop into full-blown anxiety and its effects. So now we've framed what's going on with stress and anxiety, let's recap the key takeaways. Anxiety is not a sign of weakness, it's purely a response to stress. Chronic or excess stress can manifest in anxiety. Our stress response is ill-adapted to the modern world, which means many of us face stresses we don't know how to properly confront. Still, here's what we do know. We must address stress to deal with excess worry. And to tackle stress, we need to create distance from the immediate pressures we face. Now, this understanding sets the stage for us to explore strategies to help you manage stress and anxiety effectively in our upcoming videos. So stay tuned for the next one, and remember to subscribe because we're going to cover an essential framework everyone needs to know for a fulfilled and balanced life. This framework underpins exactly what you need for a strong and confident life, and it involves the first assessment I carry out with my therapy clients. I've made this assessment available as a free download resource for you, so remember to subscribe if you'd like to get the download link in the next video. I'll see you there.